For most of us, this winter is already a lot snowier than it was this time last winter.
But with a few inches on the ground, with more to come tonight, the question is, will it stay?
Keith Carson's back with a deeper look at whether our winter snowfall is being affected by Maine's changing climate.
The last couple of winters in Maine haven't been all that snowy, right? We know that 2023 especially was a low snowfall year. But if we look at this trend since the 1940s all the way to the last year or so, there's not a huge decrease in average snowfall in Portland. You can see it's an up and it's a down, it's all over the place. And as recently as 2015, for example, we had a pretty snowy winter, and I'd expect that we could have more even as the climate continues to warm. It makes sense in a way because we're still cold enough in Maine in most storms to be able to stay below freezing, and we've got more energy now in the ocean as sea surface temperatures warm. Let's take a look at a place like Bangor and see what the trend looks like there. A little bit more noticeable of a decline there in the shaded red line. Again, it's a little hard to tell because there's a little noise there. There's ups and downs, but overall there has been a decrease there. But you think about the last couple of winters in Maine and say, all right, well, so what am I missing? Our snowfall hasn't been that far off, but it really hasn't seemed like the winters that I remember or the older school winters. And the best way to detect climate change in a winter is actually snowpack. How much snowpack sticks around? Because you might get snow, but do you keep it? And that's where we've had trouble in Maine and across New England. Salem State University did a study just last year highlighting the places on the globe with the biggest decrease in snowpack from the year 2000 to 2022. And one of the spots they highlighted in North America, in the top left there, is New England. Now, if you look closely, you'll notice Maine is actually not in the shaded red area with the biggest decrease, although it's just about edging into the Kittery area. And this study didn't do much on why exactly that might be happening, but it makes sense to me as someone who's covered weather in New England for a long time. When you get a storm that comes up the coastline here, just a little warmth in the sea surface temperatures, which have been warming very, very rapidly across the North Atlantic and specifically the Gulf of Maine, pushes those rain snow lines to the northwest. And so you may have a storm with a good amount of snow, but right behind it, another storm with a lot of rain. And that's where we've seen that big decrease in snowpack. We've seen some of that in Maine as well. So as we go forward and we're trying to look for signals of climate change in Maine, it's not really the total amount of snow we get every year, but what about snowpack? How long does that snow stick on the ground?
Not long lately.
No, it certainly has not.